You know, it's just funny. You don't always have to bring up Young, but he he was notorious for keeping his house at 50 degrees, you know, and just chilling everybody out.
Oh, who was that? Young?
Young, yeah, and
Wow, my
you know,
hero.
yeah, and when his wife died, you know, you know, she was the second rich. Hi, Annette and Charles, and
Hi.
you know, he was great. I'm great. She was the second or the richest woman in Switzerland, but she left all her money to her children, not to Young. And so suddenly he couldn't pay his coal bill.
Well, that'll teach him to take up several lovers. I mean, like,
Yeah,
you can't do
I
that
think
young.
there was a little bit
There might have been being a little bit of
yeah, a
myth
little bit
about
of
that. We should
yeah,
take a
well,
poll amongst the women, like, okay, if you were her and you know your husband, you took up 2 additional lovers, what would you do with all the money when you died?
yeah, she
you
didn't
know?
give any of it to him. It all went to his siblings. But you know, that's sort of like Shakespeare, you know, left his wife, uh, what was it, some bed or something that because he was cuckolded by her. Well, anyway, hey, Charles is here, and we have a really good Gary dream.
We should do one of the European dreams, you know,
Okay, well,
since
that's
they
fine.
struggle with the you know,
Yeah,
since
sure.
the Monday hours are so
All
tough.
right, well,
you know?
great. Let's hear and Charles, I'm sure is starving for dream interpretation too. But Dahlia or Annette or Camilla or Ava, do you have a dream you want to start with? You don't?
Why not Ava? I haven't. If you want to, Ava.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Annette. Yeah.
Well, no, I've been many times. I feel I'm taking up a lot of space here.
No.
Maybe
Well, if Ava has one, she's having trouble connecting to the audio, it says, but is that true, Ava?
Yeah, her internet may not work.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, at least she doesn't have a microphone. You know,
okay.
So yeah, Ava, if you need to, just sign out and sign back in, but that's fine. But let's Annette, let's continue the series. And Camilla doesn't have a microphone either. So
Camilla, I feel I'm taking up a lot of space. Maybe
no.
Camilla?
Well, she doesn't have a microphone.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, it is Mardi Gras. Okay, happy Mardi Gras. Or it's coming up anyway.
Well, it's happening right now.
Okay, sure. Are you in Louisiana?
No, but St. Louis is the largest Mardi Gras celebration outside of New Orleans. And there are college kids everywhere surrounding my apartment right now.
Oh, well, cool. That's a good area. Okay, well, Annette, let's see if we can do yours, and then we'll do Charles or Gary one, unless maybe if Camilla and Eva can. Oh, Camilla has her microphone on now. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm just on video, off video right now because I'm just needing to eat. So I'll see you in 10 minutes on video.
No problemo. Okay. All right, go ahead, Annette. Let's go.
Okay, there we go then. Okay. So I'm keeping on with my theme of the earth colors, and I'm painting the house in earth colors. So maybe that affects my dreams as well. But this time I was in the south of Europe. I was in a sunlit apartment home. It was very bright. And as I left it, I kept the keys in my pocket. And when I was outside, I was attacked by a young man, a criminal type, who looked very nice, I knew, on the outside, but I knew that he would easily use violence if needed. So he searched my pockets for the keys, and I decided to give them, as it could turn bad in a minute, I felt. And that was all. That was the dream. And when I was kind of, for myself, looking at it, I felt that the keys are the openings into dream life, like they are like the symbols in my life. And it felt like this man was locked out of the symbols in his life, or the male part of me. And that's why he became criminal, you know? And so that's all a part of me. So the ego is then maybe somebody who thinks that the world is only beautiful, and then this criminal appears in the shadow, you know? And I had the south of Europe with the great mother archetype. But I also feel now that that it is important that there was a peaceful outcome, because I gave the keys. And in fact, I should perhaps invite the thinking function, because I do think it's the negative animus again in my dream, to be more present within my symbols, probably more because I have extroverted thinking as my most inferior function. And at the same time, this dream was happening at the same time when the news broke about the Ukraine being invaded. So there was a robbery going on there as well, in a collective way, I think. And then I looked up what Putin was, and Putin's type is ISTP. So he's an introverted thinking type.
Yeah, ISTP. So yeah, he is his extroverted is sensate, and his dominant function is introverted thinking, and his inferior function is extroverted feeling, while yours is extroverted thinking.
I'm INFP. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, your inferior function is extroverted thinking.
That's right. Yes.
He's an introverted thinker.
Okay.
His inferior function is extroverted feeling.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're an introverted feeler. His unconscious side is extroverted feeling. Your unconscious side is extroverted thinking. His dominant is introverted thinking. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, and I felt like that. And I also thought afterwards, because it troubled me for a while, this whole scenario, and then I seen this in the collective going on. Yeah. And then I also drew the I Ching about it, and I got the symbol of Earth, the hexagram too. And that's I should connect deeper with the yin, with the symbols, the yin, you know. And that is probably what the robber, who appears to be very young, is looking for, the yin, obviously. And it also said in the I Ching that the yin is equally powerful, like it's equally powerful as the yang, but it's it goes within, and it's through openness and through receptivity and through connecting with others, basically.
Open us, that would mean unlock doors with keys, you know. Yeah, you would you know, it is funny that there is a door that is locked.
Yeah.
And then how do we unlock the door? I mean, it was this wonderful image in whose dream was that, where the oh, it's Charles, your dream. Your mother had a key that she had kept since she was a little girl, you know, and she went to she took Charles, you know, Charles' mother in her dreams tends to be an unhelpful character, one who's just there but somewhat helpless to assist. And anyway, so they went up an outside staircase but didn't go up the stairs. They found a different way of going up, didn't use the stairs, then go into a dark hallway that's completely dark, but there's light coming out from under one door.
Oh, interesting.
She had a key to this door. Now they were traveling back to her childhood, this key that she had from her childhood. She unlocks the door, and in are a bunch of angry men who start, who start to abuse her. And
my gosh.
Charles is trying to find some way of diffusing this situation, but his mother is completely comfortable there. You know, she doesn't seem to be alarmed by the abuse. You know, but let's start with your dream. Now what what I do here, and don't overrate what I do. All I'm doing is I'm going through it, just trying to say, oh, well, this might mean this might mean that, hopefully awakening your imagination or thoughts about what it could be, because I sure don't. I don't know off the top of my head, but I try to do it anyway and see what happens, you know. So yeah, so you are in the southern part of Europe. Okay. So you went to now why did you think this dream was related to the earth colors? Was it
because I associate Southern Europe with beautiful earth colors.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
they have that
Okay.
lovely rich yellows and beautiful reds and dark browns, and
Everything's not paved. They don't pave. There's streets everywhere. I mean, it's left more open, and I mean, at least I've seen, you know, because they grow things year round. Why not leave it open like that? But it's the southern part of Europe, so it would be either in like the Marseille region or Spain or Italy, someplace there. Yeah. And it's sunlit, so it is it has this wonderful warmth and light. Okay. And it is a very bright apartment. Okay, so we've assumed a place here that is not dark or overcast, somewhat like the place we came from, where, you know, the sun shines maybe once or twice a month sometimes.
yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, now we left this place with the keys. Okay, so we come from a dark, an overcast place to a place that's always sunny. Okay, and we go to a place that's unlike our place. It's sunlit, very bright, and then we're staying there, you know, as just visiting, and we leave with the keys to the place. Now, here we see an attractive young man. Okay, but we know that we have a suspicion about him. His attractiveness and his youth are somewhat hiding a you know, a sinister aspect. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the idea of the fact that he is young, that means often that we are discovering. It is a discovery of the animus within us. Whenever we see a young female, a very young female or young male, sort of retreat to the age of discovery in ourselves, you know, so this fact that they're young. Okay, now it has to be an animus figure. I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm just saying the likelihood is that it is an animus figure. But I think your intuition is correct, that it is an animus figure that has not balanced itself. So since the animus figure lacks feminine within it, it tends to be negative. Okay. Yeah. Now, it you know it is wanting to you know, rob us. But what does it want? It wants keys.
The keys. The keys of that.
It wants the keys to this place that we have come for refuge. Okay, you know, the idea, I think, is that the reason we went to Southern Europe was to find a place of where you know, this is going to be a place far from the conscious attitude, you know, a place where it's sort of a Bollingen like place, a place
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
to get rid of the air of Dublin or something, the stink
Yes,
of Dublin,
exactly.
Yeah. So we're coming here, we are coming here basically as a retreat. Okay. So
Yeah.
this is the place of retreat. We leave. Hi, Arena. We're just starting on A Dream by Annette. And I'll just
Hello,
give you
great, thank you.
yeah, I'll give you a little review of it until we get to the part, and then you'll hear the rest of it. But what basically the dream is that so far, we're only about halfway through, that Annette goes to Southern Europe. She has a sunlit apartment. It's very bright. She leaves the apartment with her keys. She is then sees a young, attractive man, but he has a sinister aspect. And we find out later that it is probably, he's it is an animus within us. Now, let's just talk about the negative animus for a second, because the negative animus is one who holds us back from evolution with his negative comments, and they're all thinking oriented. They are all, you can't do this, you can't do that. They're all instructive about how inadequate we are, or they send us off dead end streets or dead end places, anything but evolve. Now, the correct role of the animus is that it is not someone who is dictatorial towards us, but we become fully conscious. And if we're fully conscious, no one is going to dictate to us. Yet we need to empty ourselves. And now at this point, if the animus is, now here's the other thing, is the negative animus marries the shadow. Okay. Since if we are fully conscious and we have integrated our shadow, then the animus will now be in its proper role, which is providing meaning to what happens to us in a divine way, to provide meaning, which is a quantum leap of consciousness that puts us in another realm, brings us, allows us to exist in another realm with the clarity of its meaning. And this is what the negative animus absolutely doesn't do. Now it's married to the shadow, so now we have two divine figures lined up against us, both the negative animus and the shadow. Now the negative animus also has a very bad relationship with its own. It has either a negative mother, a devouring mother, or it has a negative anima within it. So anyway, it isn't related to the feminine itself very well. And so that's when we see the animus in its negative fashion, it has a tendency to say this, is that there's something in us that needs to come to consciousness, because there's a shadow aspect in us that we're unaware of, or something like that. But when the animus, so in this case, now it doesn't mean that that's the way it is in the outer world. It is telling us something in the inner world that we need to know. This is something we need to know. The whole dream, something we need to know, something we don't know. The dream does not tell us things we already know. It tells us what we don't know. Okay. So anyway, the fact that he is a young man, it brings us back to something that needs to be discovered. He goes through our pockets looking for the key to the sunlit apartment. That's all he wants. So he wants to be able to go and maybe, let me tell you this, maybe we went to the resort for this retreat to escape from the negative animus.
Mhm.
And since we had locked out the negative animus, he says, you don't lock me out. You know,
Mhm.
you don't lock me out anywhere. I will be everywhere you go. You know, so you can't lock me out in this retreat in the southern part of Europe. Okay. Now, then so we submit, we give the negative animus the key, just basically as a it's just a yielding to this pushy aspect within us that we didn't think we wanted to contend with, you know, because it might get ugly, you know, or whatever. So now what Annette said that it's the openings into the dream life. I think also it's the negative animus wants to attack us when we're, you know, in an area of great peace.
Mhm.
You know, it wants to and we have kept it out of there, and it's too feminine or something.
Mhm.
I mean, the idea is that we've made it a little overly it's imbalanced. There's an aspect of it that is not Taoist, you know.
Mhm.
It's got too much this or too much that. I mean, in the Taoist symbol, you know, the black and the white are equivalent in us, you know, and the black contains a circle of the white, and the white contains a circle of the black, and the tail of the black goes into the white side, and the tail of the white goes into the black side. So, or the dark side, let's say the dark side, you know, the dark side represents body, you know, matter and mother. Okay. And the feminine, it doesn't represent phenomenal woman. It represents the feminine in all genders, you know, which needs to be in balance. So I would say here, what the dream is saying, it looks to me like, is that there is an aspect of us that needs the animus. We're locking him out.
Mhm.
And somehow that aspect needs to be integrated in consciousness as well. Somehow it can't be left out, in other words. Okay, Gary, let's hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, really good, Craig. I don't really have much to add, but you know that he wasn't violent to start with, and it wasn't like he wanted our money. It wasn't like he wanted us harm, you know, cause us harm.
No.
He just wanted to be let in, you know. So this is like, I just feel like this is one of those things that you're going to have to dialogue with him, you know, do a little ritual dialogue and say, you know, what is it that, you know, where is it that you aren't getting to express yourself, you know, because it sounds like he just wants to be with you. And so, you know, maybe you'll find a place that, you know, that just wants to be a little more assertive or something.
Mhm.
You know, might even be something that simple.
Mhm.
Or you know, maybe there's something that's really bothering you that you just kind of pushed down, and it's like, nope, got to deal with it. You know, so that's really all I have. Because you know it just strikes me he just wants in.
Mhm.
You know, so it's negative in a way, but that's just because he's angry at not being taken with.
You know, there's this one image of in I think it's in where this woman in her dream is walking on a tightrope with a balance, you know, and
Yeah.
somehow she loses it, and she turns around, but her feet hold on to the tightrope, and her head comes down here, and here is the animus and her shadow dancing
Wow.
together. You know, now her shadow it was very interesting, her shadow. And as I know, this is not your shadow, Annette, but her shadow was a woman who just loved men. She just loved to be with men, and she's very open. She wasn't negative at all. But anyway, it's just this idea of the balance, you know, that somehow she could not walk across the tightrope because she wasn't in good balance. Dahlia, what do you think about it? This is a really good dream, I think.
Yeah, and yes, I agree with it's with many things, but I think I had some like more detailed associations concerning also South Europe, and like the weather, the sun, the colors, and for me it's more like Greece, and where's white architecture, and like you have blue sky, and I know that like many artists and like from 19th century, they used to travel from the North Europe, Eastern Europe as well to Italy, to Spain, to spend like few months and to heal from tuberculosis or whatever they had. And it was like really like a retreat, and that was life changing. And the travel was like, it took a few months as well, even to get there, or a few weeks maybe. And yeah, for me, it looks like really like not even, you're not, I don't know, how do you feel about the time, but maybe it's not like, is it today's time you there, or is it even you traveling not in space only, but in time? Is there anything like that?
All I know is that I am by myself. I'm in my inner space when I'm with this earth colors. I'm actually really happy, like genuinely happy. I love working with earth colors. I find them beautiful. And then it just looks indeed like that there's an aspect of me that I'm leaving out. And I do, yeah, that is
also the apartment, which is like very bright and well lit, which is like, and the guy, he wants also to be in the apartment, to be seen, to be lit.
I feel he wants to have what I have. He wants to have grounding. He wants to be in touch with these earth colors. He's not grounded himself, so he wants to be in a space where he will be grounded or something. He wants to be in this, because it's a lovely, it's the good life dream, you know. It's that's what South of Europe gives me. This, you know, joie de vivre, you know, like the good life, not being so heavy about everything. And that's the crazy part, is that that there was a threat in him, and it happens at the same time that the Ukraine was invaded. That's when I had the dream. And so I don't know what to make of all of that, but I do feel that, and then when I consulted the I Ching, again, it showed the earth colors. The earth thing is important.
Remember what hexagram it was?
Number 2.
Number 2, oh my God. Go ahead.
That's the earth.
Explain.
Oh,
I have to probably say
2.
something. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
go ahead.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if you know if you think it's a coincidence that I'm from Ukraine.
Oh no.
Oh, hi. How are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, Irina. Yeah, that's
I really
a
have
Ukrainian
a lot.
name. Yeah.
I have a lot to say. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to make a short comment now, because I probably want to talk a little bit later about this. Well, first of all, I noticed this right away about this dream, because I had my own dream about the negative animus. I'm not going to probably tell about it today, but very specific and very clear dream. Again, there's just so many things. So what Jung calls the negative animus, I feel in fairy tales, we have this figure of an evil magician. Sometimes he's the father. He could be even a father who rapes his daughter at night. So basically, to be short, it's a rapist. You know, that's like the most, I think, you know, short, concise definition. So I'm not sure how, I don't understand the shadow concept very well, how Jung thinks we're supposed to integrate the shadow. Because as I'm thinking about all these fairy tales, in the end, how does this evil magician perish? There has to be, you know, a prince, a young king who comes and saves the woman, and he has to destroy the evil magician. And if it's negative anima, like it's evil stepmothers and sisters, in the end, they are being tied to a horse, and the horse is let loose, and they're being dragged on the field and killed. So I have kind of an issue now with this integration of a shadow versus cutting it off. So I have to, like, I listened to, there's so many things that changed in the past 3 days, but I listened to the lecture by James Hillman last week, and he was talking about how in this Western kind of psychoanalysis and even these Jungian groups, we're more focused on the individual. So we're trying to interpret our individual dreams. What do they mean for us? But he's saying that the collective consciousness, we're kind of forgetting about it, that we're part of that. And what you're seeing in your dreams, it's the collective, might be, right? That what's happening in the world, because somehow it's happening in your psyche too. So right now, let's just get this picture. Kiev is an ancient city. Where do we find this image of the city? The citadel, where the self, lives at the center, and basically being attacked by a rapist, and trying to withstand. I was just listening to the Western journalist who can't wait for the city to fall. Well, will Kiev stand for the next 24 hours? Because Putin, this guy, this old, ugly, crazy dude, has all this huge army, he's the Goliath, right? But then it turns out that in Ukraine, there are men right now, just simple people, simple guys, who are taking to arms and saying, we're going to defend our land because this is our land. My family's here, my children are here. And so, my feeling is Kiev is not going to fall. And okay, so there's more. Ukraine is Ukraina. It's a female. It's always had this association. The land is female.
I get a very much sadness now. I get a real sadness in the air when you talk, and I can sense that.
And the fact that you got two, right, in I Ching, that's what the earth, that's female, right? Is that what you got in the I Ching reading?
It's the receptive power, power, which is Kiev. I mean, and the one who violates the receptive, the divine receptive, in a way that is not appropriate, is this
right? Let me then. I'm just finished with this one thought, and then maybe we can talk more if we have time. I hear these talks, and they've always been going on until now. Western journalists, Russian journalists love to say it. Well, Russia and Ukraine has had these long relationships. There's a historic ties. Ukraine was part of Russia. Maybe we should try to understand. So now I have a clear answer to this. A rapist and his victim have a relationship. They might have historic ties. So what, are you going to try to understand the rapist? Or are you going to just choke him off and kill him? And what's happening right now, again, because there is a correlation between my dreams, which I'm not going to go into, but we can talk about it later. There's something that needs to be destroyed. There's no integrating. There are things that just need to be cut. That's it. There's no trying to negotiate. No, you can't negotiate with the rapist. He's destroying you, he's raping you, he's murdering you. And these women, the woman, the female, is just, well, we're not even going to listen to her opinion. Like, what does Putin want? What does he want? Let's listen, to his side of the story. I was like, oh, Ukraine is a separate country. It's a woman that, doesn't want to be raped. So she has to say her word, and you have to understand that there's this line where there's a line of morality that you can't be wishy-washy about. And this is the insight that I'm reaching now, that has to do with negative complexes, like you were saying, these negative thoughts, basically this dude that's trying to rape you, you know, and it's in your mind, is going on in your mind. So it's a lot of things, but I'll stop now. We can talk maybe later more if you want.
That's amazing. And I find it, I'm truly delighted that you are from the Ukraine. It's unbelievable in a way that you enter at this moment in the dream. I feel I'm in another dream now.
Exactly. It's not a coincidence. I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence. I'm from Ukraine. That this is happening. No.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and it's beautiful the way you can say that.
And I understood this just over these past 3 days. This is what clarified, again, because I had a similar dream that involved the negative animus. It was actually Putin. I had Putin in my dream 2 days before the invasion, but I'll talk about it. It's very, talk about it later.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is a very important. Go ahead, Annette. Did you have any comments, more comments?
No, I find it so rich, this group, and this beautiful lady now is joined, and it's confirming my dream in a way. And so it is about boundaries in a way. What she's telling me, the message is about boundaries, and it's about having firm boundaries, basically, because that's what you need with a rapist, is very firm boundaries.
Well, that's the idea of the negative animus. You know, you know, it is very synchronistic, but the negative animus, the idea is that as a human being, we need to be fully conscious, and the shadow and the negative animus have no effect on us if we're fully conscious, fully balanced. But
I also know, if I can say so, and I don't know if that is synchronistic for the Ukraine. I don't know the Ukraine so well, but I do know from my therapy experience is that perpetrators are attracted to the victim vibe, and they can send, like they're not raping everybody, or they're not attacking everybody. They're attacking certain people, and they can sense them a mile off, because they are radiating a certain vibe. And that is what you have to change as a victim. You have to change your vibe. You have to put out boundaries. And
that's true. Yes, you need to become aware. And Ukraine throughout its history, because it's always been, you know, like this subject, right? It was historically, so Ukrainian language was forbidden. You know, you couldn't speak Ukrainian. It was shameful to speak Ukrainian. So this role of the victim, it was real. But yes, Ukrainians are now becoming more confident and knowledgeable of their history, and so this awareness that I'm not a victim, that's what's happening now. It happened like 8 years ago, but now it's but on the other hand, I just want to note that this type of thinking also kind of justifies the rapist, like, oh well, she invited you, right? She I know, you know, so that's also, be careful of that too.
Well, we have two dreams. One is Annette, and one is the mythological aspect of the psychic significance of what is happening in Ukraine. And one thing Irina said that is really important: there are family dreams, there are city dreams, there are country dreams. You know, and so yeah, it's Camilla. Let's what do you think, Camilla? Or Adalia, were you done? Yeah, okay.
Hello. Thank you for a nice dream. Well, I don't know if I can make my mind coherent, but because I've had so many thoughts about the old concept that is nomos in Greek, which is a law type thing, but very sort of masculine and patriarchal. And so I've been thinking about that all week, and even before what happened on the Thursday, but I think it's very, it fits well with what happened. And I've been trying to sort of understand what is it that nomos does. And it's a kind of delineating, it makes well, it makes boundaries, but not in a very good way. It's like a divisive action. And so we often speak about setting boundaries as if it's something like putting up as if it's setting up a fence of some sort, but it's not. And I think this is where we often get into confusion, especially in terms of human relationships, and even more so perhaps with countries. But this idea that the feminine is not the other as such. It is the all. The earth is the all. And nomas wouldn't be able to be there if it wasn't because the earth was already there. And I was thinking of nomas as a kind of cultural introduction. So, and because we've had this long history of patriarchy, then it coincides also with the suppression of women and with lots of types of countries like Africa, and then of course within Africa they have their own sort of balances and imbalances of tyranny and suppression. But north and south and east and west, there's lots of these kind of imbalances going on.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, and it's all about that, exactly. The earth is both, is masculine and feminine. I do think so too.
But in terms of the feminine and masculine, if my issue, my sort of this, what I'm trying to think about, and which of course your dream reminded me a little bit about, and also what Irina was speaking about, is this thing that it's the humanity wouldn't be where we are today without this nomos, this idea. But it's like it's gone too far, and it's being done in a way without recognition of the all space of the earth and the feminine. If that makes sense. It's not the right way to say it, but my words are
I know what you mean. It's space in the development.
Yeah, and so of course one is needed for human being, but and also in terms of this boundary setting, it is, because I think that's where we often are confused with boundaries, is that it's like we think it's an action, but it's to be boundaried or to be grounded in the earth, it's to be very connected. And I think that is what creates this non-attractive element in terms of being raped. So it's like, it's thinking about it in a little bit a different way, because I think this setting a boundary sounds like it's something you can just choose to do, but it is something that has to be really born and grown and nurtured as a kind of existential way of living.
Yes.
I know it wasn't so precise to a dream, but it was just these things I thought about when you were talking.
Yeah, no, I believe that. And I have to relate to my shadow and to the animus in my shadow. And obviously he's neglected in some form, shape or form. But I also am also wary of what the lady from the Ukraine said, that it's dangerous thinking to think that it's all up to the victim to change. The perpetrator has to change as well.
No, I don't think so. But it's just like with narcissism, it can be quite hard for the narcissist to see that anything is wrong with them. So it's like, I think actually it's a powerful gesture to know, like, and Ukraine is doing that, and it did it even, like Irina said, 8 years ago, by taking the stance of becoming independent, more independent anyway, or as independent as it could. So it's also a process, because it's a very new way of being human in the world. So I think what is going on between Ukraine and Russia is also a kind of reflection of what is going on between masculine and feminine on a human level.
Absolutely.
And it seems that
sounds like it sounds like codependency from the feminine a little bit, and that the feminine was codependent a little bit, and that we have to grow out of that.
And that is the woman's, responsibility.
Yes.
Me, just a small.
Yeah, go ahead,
because,
Dalia.
Because I read somewhere also about Putin, like his way of thinking and actions are like of the leader of 19th century. It's like he's not in this, like it's not connected to the reality. So
It's a 3-year-old.
yeah, and it's like, and
Yeah.
the way like it was in 19th century how things were done, the empires, and so it's real disconnection from where the future the Ukrainians want to go, and it's just like a time disconnect in a way as well for me, in my view.
I'll say one thing. It's not about the dream, but this is not Russia versus Ukraine. It is Putin versus Ukraine. And people have looked at Putin's, and this is a hopeful thing, because the Russians have nothing against Ukraine. You know, it's Putin. You know, and the people who have listened to Putin's rants over the last week say he has Parkinson's disease, he has cancer, and he has what's called long-term COVID. And they said he would not have done this 5 years ago. So it somewhat reminds me of Stalin in 56. He was about ready to launch an atomic war in 56, and he died before he could do it. You know,
It's extremely unbalanced, extremely unbalanced act of Putin, and it was completely off the wall. Completely off the wall.
What he is a pariah anyway. I don't know. Don't get me started. But
may I say one little last thing? It's just interesting because this weekend, and you spoke about astrology last time, didn't you, Annette? This weekend there is a certain constellation which is also in relation to what is Chiron, which is the kind of soul wound of each human. But I'm wondering if that isn't also the case on a kind of national level. And so this is happening just yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and it is all about the shadow. So it is interesting that it is happening.
And it comes up, and it's funny. I did look at his chart, and it did appear that he had a choice between heaven and hell, Putin, and he chose hell, and this was his old shadow coming up, but it will be his own hell as well. I mean, he sadly he's causing a lot of damage, but it will be his own hell. He's chosen his own hell.
The military, the Russian military has no skin in this game. They don't, I mean, I just had this feeling they're going in there on orders. They don't want to do this. They have nothing against Ukraine, but they're doing it because, you know, the boss told them to. I just don't know how that's going to all play out. But one thing I wanted to say about what Camilla said too, and remember, we got two dreams here. We got Annette's dream, which is separate from Ukraine, and then we have a dream that's happening now. You know, but it's one that is almost cosmic. But one thing that Camilla said that's very interesting is the feminine is matter, and the masculine is immaterial. It is not matter. So it is not body. You know, like this morning, you know, I always go through every organ in my body and say hello. Hello, heart. Hello, lungs. Hello, stomach, intestines. And I try to go through every bone and everything. And then at the end, I usually ask that who are you? What is it you, where did you come from? What do you have to tell me? But sometimes I rushed through it. And I said, oh, who wants to listen to them? You know, and then suddenly I said, oh, wait. So I come back and they said, how dare you not listen to us? You know, well, our wisdom is wordless, but that doesn't mean it's not wisdom. You know, it is this strange thing between explaining and in words and understanding through images. You know, which is really the thinking of the depths too. Well, let's hear from Ava and Charles and Dawn, and then let's Irina, you got the get last word on this dream, other than Annette, or unless somebody else has a comment. Ava, did you have, what do you think about the dream? And maybe then what do you think about Ukraine? Try to keep them separate.
I wasn't listening at the beginning, so I can't. Sure. I'm just thinking about what you all have said.
Okay,
and,
sure.
We are close to Russia, you know,
Sweden,
and our history is hard to think about.
It was founded by the Swedes, Russia, Moscow, and those cities were.
Yes, we are close to St. Petersburg and so on. And there is a long history about Finland trying to work very soft with this big power state. Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you, Ava. Let's, Charles, I'm sure you have some comments. What do you think?
I don't know, the dream just seems kind of like you know, a kind of disharmony between the masculine and feminine, and that, you know, you have this apartment just bathed in light, and it makes me think that, you know, it makes me think that it's sort of a place where the animus, since he takes the keys, that, you know, that's kind of his place. I just instinctively see him as taking the keys back and saying, no, that's my place and we're not going to share it because that's where I belong. That's just, you know, my instinctive, intuitive interpretation, which is what it always is. You know, there just needs to be some sort of harmony and cooperation to where it can be shared. And, you know, it's just not that way right now. I don't know, that's just kind of how I see it, is that, you know, you have access to this animus house, but
sunlit.
There's just a not the quite parameters within the relationship that could sustain it and have it be cooperative and be able to share the same psychic space.
Thank you.
And yeah, this is how I look at it.
Sunlit and bright. That's very good, Charles. 2 points. Just sunlit and bright are the attributes of logos or the masculine aspect. And he is telling us now, the dream eagle thinks he's sinister, the young, attractive man. But what he's saying is what Charles says: I am the keeper of the keys of this place, not you. I am.
Can I add something?
Keys. Yeah, go ahead, Irina, please.
I just wanted to add, so again, if we look at the fairy tales, don't forget that there's negative animus and there's a positive animus. There's a good prince that comes and saves the princess and he's the legitimate husband. And there's this negative, the evil magician who keeps her hostage, puts a spell on her, you know, rapes her. So I think these are two different things. So when we're just talking about animus, you can just say, well, it's his place, or because there are two of them. there's the legitimate husband and there's the illegitimate rapist.
The one who assumes the keys and takes the keys, and he doesn't really deserve to have them, but he says, I am going to keep the keys.
Yeah, and what is alarming about him is that he's deceiving. His looks are not pure. That is deceiving.
Young, he's not the wise old man. Put it this way.
No.
Not the wise old man. He is this young sort of now you described him as somewhat of a hoodlum looking, or a
on the edge of
sort of a gangster type or whatever, a young gangster boy or something, someone reckless, reckless.
And could you put the dream in email or chat?
Okay,
yes,
I read to understand it. I will understand it afterwards, I think.
Okay,
Yes.
great. We'd like to hear it. You know what's amazing is every one of you find things that I would never ever find. I mean, it's just amazing how you can do that. Okay, so Annette, let's just I'm going to just kind of sum it up here. That now and based on everybody's input, we go to the south of Europe. And I loved what Dahlia said. You go to to me, Ibsen went to the south, and all the Norwegians go to the Canary Islands.
Yes.
And the idea of the white architecture in Greece on those beautiful islands, where it's all this beautiful white. But anyway, we go to the sunlit place, the very bright apartment, and we leave with the keys. Now that's very important. Why did we say we just didn't leave? We leave with the keys. So we're leaving with something that shows possession of this place. The one with the keys is the one who owns it. Okay. Now we then immediately after leaving with this sign of who owns this sunlit resort place. Now the idea of this is the inner sanctum, the sanctum that is far away from the conscious attitude. We've come to the place of the domicile of personality number 2. Who owns it? Who is the holder of the keys? So as soon as we leave it, it is bright and sunlit, so it's somewhat related to the aspect of what is removed from the earth, the spiritus, that thing that is above the earth, high above the earth, and it's all light, but no darkness. That's not good, but it is what it is. It's enlightening and it provides clarity. And that's actually what the proper role of the animus is to provide clarity and meaning, not to tell us we can't do something, okay, and to tell us we're horrible and we don't, like Marion Woodman said, he would always tell me that I'm not attractive, I don't look well, I need to lose weight or something like that, but that's not the proper role of the animus. The animus, that's a muddle, it's a blah. What the animus is supposed to do is and what Marion Woodman would say, the fully conscious woman is not ruled by the animus. The animus is her partner, and he needs to know his role and his place. Okay, and his place is to be the collaborator of a fully developed human being who is conscious, not in control of the shadow within them, and not ruled by compulsion. Okay, in other words, they're conscious of all those aspects of them that are compulsive, and they from a distance can stop it. They are not going to do things unconsciously. At that point, the animus is there to provide meaning. The wise old man, and this one is anyway. That is so he is saying that he wants he seems to say that there seems to be a dispute about who owns this place, who is the holder of the keys. He doesn't want money. He doesn't really even want to, molest us physically.
No.
What he's interested in is who holds the who is the key, the holder of the keys, and somehow the dream ego is yielding to him this time, but I don't think that it has yielded in its heart to this, and so this is not finished. You may have the keys now, but my heart says you don't have the keys, and there needs to be a sort of a like Gary was saying, some kind of a back and forth until there is an agreement or consensus on that, and not say, I have the keys, I'm running away with them. I mean, that's not the proper role of the animus. And anyway, does anyone else have some concluding thoughts? Gary or Dahlia or Camilla or Rena, Charles? Anybody? Well, how about you, Annette?
No, that's lovely. I'll let it all sink in, and
Yeah,
thank
me
you all.
too. Well, yeah, it is a little bit. Now, Arena, why don't you tell us where you are right now? I know it's a little bit, not just a little bit, but a lot stressful.
Yeah.
What have you have you had any dreams over the last few days?
Yes, but I think I don't want to talk about it today
Okay,
because
that's
again,
fine.
it will take us deeper. So yeah, I'm in Vermont, and my family, my mother, and my sister are in Kiev. So
Yeah.
again, I don't know if I want to talk about details, but yeah, there are bombings.
Yeah,
no
well,
food
maybe
and-
it's just not a good time to
Yeah.
talk. Let's see what happens later. Now, anyway, would you have anything else you'd like to add? Just any thoughts? And we'll maybe go on to
Yeah,
your
I mean, yeah, I just want to go back again to this subject of the collective, which also I started thinking about just over the past week. That right now, I think what we're seeing is the psyche, that the spiritual is being played out or manifested on the physical plane. It's very Jungian what's happening, and what you were saying about masculine and feminine. Masculine is penetrating, feminine is receiving, but their action together, it has to be equal as partners, like you were saying. It's a synergy, and it's obvious that globally, most of the cultures in the world, this is not how men see women. They don't see women as equal partners. So, I mean, yeah, their roles are different, but it has to be connection equally for creation to happen. So this is probably something that individually we need to work on, and globally, culturally. One of the things, I mean, there's a lot of nuances as well.
Let me just, go ahead. Annette, or anybody, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I would like to say my heart goes out to you at this moment, and I really treasure your precious presence in this group now because of the, difficult times you are in and your family,
Thank you. And they need the support, and yeah.
Well, you got Sweden and Ukraine and Lithuania. They're all sort of in that sphere. Now, I just want to say one thing too, and it's not. It's just a matter of just the phenomenal man and woman have a very thin. They're 5 miles wide and 1 inch deep. And they have no clue about anything. The psyche, the masculine and the feminine in the psyche are divine. Both of them divine. Now the phenomenal man and woman, like you or me, especially myself, is if I was just to go by what my the random thoughts that come in my head, I'm out of my mind. I'm insane. I mean, the idea of these random and like Hillman would say, all these, like, they're very autoerotic. It's all about me. It's all about the ego. It's all about me, and it's all everything. All I'm saying is that we don't want to mix up the divine masculine with the divine feminine, and the divine feminine with the like you have a wonderful religion, a wonderful myth, okay, some myth, and then you meet somebody who belongs to that church and they're crazy. So does that mean the myth is crazy? I mean, not necessarily. The myth is divine and eternal. But as far as what's happening right now, I'll tell you, Irina, every fiber of my being right now is let's see, in a great state of alarm and helplessness. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, I couldn't believe it when it happened. I still don't believe it, and I don't know. I think I'm with everybody on this. Is there's just this unprovoked, and that's why I say I can't believe this is not a decision of a great mass movement that decided that they need to invade Ukraine. It's the decision of crazy people who have absolute power, and no one can say no to them. What do you say?
But they're representatives of their culture. So
Right.
He's a son of his culture, and these kind of this type of thinking it's common to Russian people, that everything belongs to them. It's crazy men, but like we're talking about the collective, so it's more than him, more than one.
There's the collective. Now remember too, we've got collective consciousness, and we've got the collective unconscious. So they're not the same thing, but the collective consciousness. Go ahead, Irina, what were you say?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I think I think I expressed what I meant.
yeah. No, there's collective consciousness, which is always it moves a lot faster than the collective unconscious. What Jung used to say, the collective unconscious is usually 300 years behind the collective consciousness, but it only will take from the collective consciousness what it values and what it thinks it's important. And so this ephemeral samsara, the whirlwind of the collective consciousness, is helping the collective unconscious, the depths, the ones where our bodies came out of. I'll just tell you, I had this wonderful little act of imagination this morning. There's this woman who lives at the edge of a great bay, and on the other side of the bay lives she's the mother of all life, of all manifest beings, and the mother on the other, if you go across, is the mother who existed before there was any life. She is sitting there, and all that surrounds her are rocks and dust. And then but yet out of her will come all life, but it hasn't come yet. So she's the pleroma. She's this latent collective unconsciousness, and so she, you go up to her. No life is coming to being there, and say, "What is on your mind, mother? What is on your mind?" Now, I asked this woman at the edge of the Great Bay, why, mother, do you live here at the very edge of this place? why is this? And she says, because the boundary is the center. The edge is the center. This very edge of life, and on the other side is psyche, is the center. That's why I live here. You know, I mean, it was a sort of a, now the collective consciousness is me coming there. You know, she is this, the wisdom of everything that's alive right now. You know, I mean, but anyway, I'm just saying that was a little experience I had. Now, so Dahlia or Camilla, neither one have dreams. So, Charles, did you want to do a dream, or we can do a Gary dream? I'm sure you've had dreams.
I like Gary do his.
Yeah, okay, we'll do Gary's dream. Okay, real quick. And then, so we owe you a dream on Monday, Charles. Let's see here.
Okay, got it here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and put it in there and read it, Gary. Yeah, I am the worst at cutting and pasting.
Oh, yeah, but hang on.
He calls this his boring dream, but let's see what you think. Go ahead and read it, Gary.
Yeah.
Can you put it in the chat,
That's
Gary?
Yeah, he's going to try to. Charles,
Okay.
Gary, let me see if I can do it real quick.
Yeah, for some reason it's not.
Yeah, that's no problem. I have it right here.
I did a copy paste, but it didn't work.
Yeah, well, no problem. I got it right here. All right. Okay, just a second. Okay. Select. Copy. Yeah, Arena, I hope to hear more from you as the days go by. I'd really like to. I know it's hard to talk about it. I tell you, I'm in great mourning. It's been.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, well, I got the first part.
Oh, maybe that was from you then. Okay,
yeah, that was
so
me.
That was you.
Yeah, let me just get the second part. Okay. Oh, well, we began the journey up. That's all it says at the end. Okay, we began the journey up. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
At the end of
All
it,
right.
isn't it?
So yeah, so I call this the elevator project. I've been hired to change the controls of an elevator in a large building. Apparently, new elevators will be installed, and the way we move between floors will be changed, and that is what I'm working on. I worked in the existing elevators to figure out the interface necessary. I'm visited multiple times by a person I knew at NNG. He is very rational, very logos. He is concerned about if I know what I am doing and asks questions about the approach. I understand his concern, but know it is groundless. I know what I'm doing. I take the elevator to the basement. There's a person in a wheelchair waiting for the elevator. I am waiting with him. During this time, the freight elevator comes down, which is different than the one we were waiting for. And when the door opens, another handicapped person in a wheelchair says that I do not need to wait. I can ride with him and work on that elevator. I thank him and go into that elevator and attach my interface to the controls. We begin the journey up.
Okay, well, let's start on this one here. Okay, well, the elevator project. So we're talking about a vehicle that goes both up and down and up and down. You know, now the way of going to different levels. What do different levels mean? You know, what is it the different? What is the underworld? How is the underworld different from the middle world or the heavenly realm? You know, it's this. So this is this vehicle going up and down. And you know what? It really reminded me of, well, you know, every day the only way I can lower the threshold of consciousness is to go down with Inanna through the 7 gates. That's sort of my method. You know, I say, take my hand. She takes my hand, and then she leads me to the 7th gate. the first gate, and we take something of the persona off, put it aside, go through the gate, go down to the hallway, then we look back at the gate that we were at, then we go down to the next one. We do that 7. You'd be surprised after you get down to 4 or 5 how this upper first floor is far away now, especially when you go out to the last gate. So it's the idea. And I ask her, Inanna, who are you? Where did you come from? What is your purpose here? And her purpose is to bring us down to the bottom where you can't fall any farther. You know, so you've reached the turning point. Okay, you've reached the place where the temple of wisdom is built. This is the idea of the going down all the way. You know, but anyway, the dream maker or the psyche or the self has hired Gary to for an exchange of some values to find a renewed or refreshed way of going of the ascent and the descent. It needs refreshing and renewing, you know. Now, what's funny is the way that this happens. You know, it's from the body, the lowest chakra, to the crown chakra. We need a new way of going up and down the Kundalini. Okay, let's put it that way. There needs to be a new way of this happening. And we, the self, or some unknown authority, has employed us to do this. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to go look at how the old way worked and find out its interface. Now, is this correct, Gary? And then you're going from what you learned from the way the old controls of the elevator, of the old elevator work, that now you can put you can design the new elevator. There's something about that.
Yeah, you're talking to an embedded software engineer here, someone that used to work with microelectronics and stuff. So it was literally, I just needed to know the protocols and stuff,
right?
You know?
The protocols of the old one, which you were then going to apply to another one that was just hadn't been built yet. Isn't that what it says?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to build a completely refreshed way of going from the depths of life before deep in the body, far from consciousness, to the crown chakra. You know, how do we do this now? We need a renewed and refreshed way of doing this. The old way is not adequate anymore. There needs to be a new way to do it. Okay, so then we you know, to find out how the evolution could proceed, the interface, we must first become familiar with the historical pattern, and so the levels of so from the old historical pattern, then the new way, the refreshed and renewed way, is going to be able to evolve, but we need to take it from the old way of going up and down so that the new way can evolve. Now, let's see. Now you go down to. Let me see if I got this right. Somehow I got lost here. But you go down to the basement, okay, and there you find this person below in the depths, one who does not walk about on legs, and he moves by means of the mandala. You know, he has 2 mandalas, and he moves about on the mandala. And we can say he's handicapped. He moves about. He's not walking. He doesn't walk with his feet on the ground. You know, so this is a being who does not, you know, he's not bipedal, who walks on earth. This is a being who travels by the use of mandalas, you know, of roundness, wholeness. And that's the way he goes. And that's who we find in the basement. Now, this aspect, is it a he or she? I'm assuming it's a he.
So he,
Yeah, is in the basement and has is seemingly trapped there because he can't ascend. Now we come there and we're
I
going.
think he's just waiting. He doesn't seem to be
waiting.
trapped. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been waiting a long time, and so have we. And it's sort of a crisis of waiting because there is an escape from waiting comes to us. Okay, that's what I was getting at, Gary. Is there escape is there is a method of going up and down that is not related to the conscious mind. It has something to do with something not people. It's something another type of going up and down, you know. And there's another person there, and we can talk about what the handicapped person means, but all I can think of is that it is a wounded being, one who has been somehow crippled or made unable to walk on the earth on his feet. And so in this case, the way they move is through roundness, through wheels, you know, which are very magical, you know. The Buddha was called the Chakra Vartan, you know, the turner of the wheel, the one who sets things in motion, the one who sets psyche in motion, the one who sets enlightenment in motion. It's like the awakening of the Kundalini serpent, you know, that one who brings the life of psyche into the world. Okay. But anyway, so now you and this person, this entity who you met in the depths, now we can say there's no feminine in this dream as far as we know. There's just the dream ego, and then there are two apparently male, almost twins. Don't you think, Gary, the fact that they both have wheelchair kind of makes them twins? So we meet the twins of the wheelchair. So what does it mean when we meet a set of twins? Okay. All right. Wait. Let's hear a little bit from everybody, because I particularly want to hear Irina. You're really on today, but let's hear everybody. Annette, what do you think?
Okay, first of all, I was thinking of a wheelchair has 4 wheels, so there's a cycle coming to completion. And it's also a mechanic, so it's somehow reminds me of that you're going into a new era, into a new life phase. The Pisces, the Aquarius area, and then also I was thinking of the wounded person or the handicapped person could be your own Chiron. That you're getting in touch with your own inner woundedness, and you're now you've gone down to the descent, and now you're moving up in the elevator. So you're kind of bringing to the surface what was hidden deep down in the depths, in the shadows. You're getting in contact with your wound in the shadows, and it's coming to the surface, and that will be a completion or something. That's what I was thinking.
That's very wonderful. This wounded part of you is coming to the surface. And yeah, and there's a wounded part coming from above. They meet, and now both can go up. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
Dalia, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I need some time, but I know the basement, it makes me think about like going down and into the roots, into the earth, down even lower somewhere, and also about like the elevator itself, like I don't know, like a space, even a volume and a capsule, which is also, I know, traveling, but I need some time to refine my thoughts a little bit, but it's very interesting dream.
Let me just say, you know, through much trial and error, my idea of the descent is that we're going into the instinctive, we're going into the body, we're going into the primordial, and we're going to the source, and we're going to the mother realm. That's how I've always. I mean, it's not some. It's just something. That's where I am today on the descent. I'm not saying it's right. Camilla, what do you think?
Hey, yeah, I mean, I thought also a little bit in the line of Dahlia about, I mean, it is the two people in wheelchairs are met at the basement, are both sort of arriving there. So it could indicate that it's the feminine that is wounded somehow, is what I was thinking. And then I was thinking something else, but that might be just in the wording, which I thought was interesting. The person that was very worried, the person you knew at NNT, who is a very rational person, he's, you say to him first that his concerns are groundless. And I thought that then you go on to say, I know what I'm doing. And then I take the elevator to the basement, which is the ground. So there's a kind of
groundless.
interesting dialectic that it's groundless versus ground. I mean, I don't know what it means, but it just is interesting in the way that it was written there.
I put a big exclamation part. The creature of the rational and the logos is groundless, literally. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a meeting in a way again of between that nomos and the. I don't know what would be the, if nomos is the law in Greek, what would then the feminine or the ground, what word would that be? I've been thinking about that. If you were going to make an opposite to nomos, what would that be?
It would be mercy and compassion and unconditional love and acceptance.
And in Greek?
That's in contrast to the law. I don't know what it is in Greek, but you know, the idea of justice and righteousness is compared to unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, unconditional forgiveness, unconditional mercy. You know, those are the principles of eros. There is, you know, and the principles of masculine.
So it's kind of eros that is, that
yes.
gives.
All the legalistic mumbo jumbo. There must be order, you know, where the eros says, no, there must be love, there must be nurturing, there must be.
Can I say something that is a really wild generalization, which I think is very interesting? You know, I participate in different groups of psychoanalysis of different orientations, and throughout the years, I've sort of read and participated in others. And one of the interesting things I thought was that the only persons I've ever heard use this kind of, but it is necessary, this nomos, the law, it is men. I've never heard a woman say to me, but it's necessary that you, and I was sort of wondering, what is this, what is happening here that, especially in Lacan, which is very much about structure and patterns. And I was sort of wondering, why is it that I've only heard ever a man say this, how important it is, the law.
because they're far removed.
I've never heard women say that in that way. Say again?
Yeah, they're far removed from reality. I mean, they have a different kind of reality. It's order, where the reality of the feminine realm, which is missing in the masculine, he needs it desperately.
But we are talking about really sort of, No, but it is interesting, but we're just talking about men who are very, in a way, in effect, at least very individuated, at least at some level, but still this feminine or this earth or this is missing. And I'm just curious about this kind of discrepancy, I suppose. I'm sure that happens in...
They're helpless. I mean, this was what Lillian Fry-Rohn said. If Jung had been a woman, he would have said much, much more about love. But he
Yeah, I
couldn't.
read that. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't because he was. It wasn't because he didn't want to, or it just that's the way his mind thought. It thought in terms of patterns and order.
But you see,
and far away, looking down, bird's eye view.
But you see, this is an interesting, there must be a reason for this very discrepant ways of being. But it's just that this nomos and this way of patriarchal structure has been with us so long that it seems, at least for some men I've met, to be a very necessary thing, because it's, I suppose, what is known. But if you look at nature, and if you think that nomos is also a natural thing, not just cultural, then nature has a way of ordering itself. So it's also about control. And I don't know how this links with your dream, but I thought about the sort of an elevator is a very sort of structured square thing that goes very sort of very, it doesn't go in turns. It goes, well, not necessarily, I think, because it also goes very stringently up and down in a very sort of rigid way. So it doesn't take detours, does it?
No.
I mean, I would love it. If it's a vessel, then it's like a time machine. It could go all over the place. But this one seems to go sort of very up and down, like the Kundalini.
It does. Yeah, it just follows the spinal cord. Now let me just say one thing about the masculine feminine, introducing Irina too, is one thing Marianne Woodman said about the patriarchal. It is not divine masculine. It is a complete distortion of the divine masculine. And so is this matriarchal world, is a distortion of the divine feminine. They're not that, and the idea of why do you need both? Because otherwise, if you don't have two poles, two opposites, there's nothing happens. You need something that's extreme in this direction and extreme in this direction, so that the energy flows between them, and that's how life happens. It comes into being. Now, Irina, you tell me about the patriarchal world. This is that kingdom that needs the fool to come and lift the curse and cure the enchantment, because it's a Senex world and everything's frozen. What do you think, Irina? Or about the dream, Gary's dream too? Are you
Sorry,
able?
I was having some. I'm good now, but I was having some sound issues, so I didn't hear part of the interpretation. Okay. But I heard your comment, so I just need to think about it, about this frozen world. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll listen to you next time, because I really want to. I know this is a time of disorientation and stuff, but I think at this time of disorientation, you can provide some orientation for us. Dahlia, what did you have another comment?
Yeah, I was thinking also a little bit about the forms and kind of geometry. It makes me think about like the movement up and down, and there's usually, if it's linear, there's no end in any way and can go straight just up or down, and also about the wheels, which are like finished, and it's a circle, which is, I know it makes me think like there are both like feminine and masculine geometry.
Gary has twin sons, by the way. He's very related to, he has a lot of twins in his life. These are, I really think these are twins, too. But that's very good, Dahlia. I like that. Ava, let's hear Ava and Charles before we go. Ava, what do you think about it? Do you have any thoughts about it? You always say something surprising.
No. Oh, no, not today.
Okay. All right, that's fine. How about you, Charles? Now, you always surprise me, too. What do you have to say?
I definitely don't think it's a boring dream. I think it's pretty cool. I really like it. I don't, honestly, I don't really know what to make of it. But it, it seems like from the dream that Gary has this really technical approach to, this is just my opinion, but let's say the dream's saying that Gary has this really technical approach to inner work and, relating to the inner world. By the dream, it makes me think like that, it said that the inferior function will, connect you to the unconscious and allow you to, relate to unconscious parts of your psyche. But it seems like Gary can still manage to do a lot of inner work by his like more dominant technical intellectual skill set, which I just think is interesting. That's just the impression I get from the dream, because I don't know, I just find it interesting. I don't have any dreams quite like that, so it's very cool. But that's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, the one thing I would say is this contrast between the very rational logos mind, and then there is an aspect in Gary that says, I know what I'm doing, so that there's an aspect of this inner and upper and outer that he senses he's on the right path, and the fact that he meets these two twins of the vehicular way of moving, this round way of moving. What do you think, Gary? And then we'll have to pick up next time.
Well, it's kind of funny what Charles said, because one of the things I was a bit infamous for and not appreciated at all was my tendency to just wing things, as far as like just doing them a bit intuitively and never making a plan, but just like, don't worry about it, just it'll get done.
That's great.
Not really
I don't think
planning.
we've got the final mystery of this dream, but let me think about it. But Annette, thank you for your wonderful dream. And thank you, Dahlia, Camilla, Ava, and Irina, you especially. Thank you. You've brought a little bit of, probably not on purpose, but I'm just glad to have talked to someone from Ukraine right now. It helps me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
for listening.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you all
Thank you.
next time. Okay. Thanks, Camilla. Charles.
Thank
Dawn.
you.
Dawn had to leave. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.